you can still be strong, dominant, and confident, but also have feelings and like being able to express them. Like that's something that I've kind of learned from like moving here, is that it's perfectly fine to like be who you are no matter what and feel how you feel, but also like tell people about how you feel. Like you don't have to keep it a secret.
We all navigate the world independently, so how can we, give a given structure for one's purpose? Like we all walk life differently, and how you walk through life is going to determine what your purpose is going to be later on. So trying to regulate or, sculpt one's purpose is just going to be counterintuitive. It's going to destroy the person more than actually help them.
Welcome back to another episode of The Deep, where Darius explores everyone's purpose. My name is Darius. I will be your host today. We have a special guest with us today, Mr. Harrison, who I work with at Texas Roadhouse. I'm just bringing all the roadies on for these episodes, so you're just going to have to get used to them. Last week was Sam. The week before that was Naya, so we're chilling. So we're going to be talking about some cool stuff today. This isn't really tailored to anyone besides the men who watch this podcast. I don't know how many do, but we'll see. Or if you have a boyfriend, send this to him. He probably needs to hear these things anyways. So just a couple housekeeping things. I can't believe we're 5 weeks in here. It's been a month since I started recording these episodes, so it's kind of crazy, but we're doing the damn thing. So I'm excited. Hopefully we can just keep it rolling and have as many people on here as I can and just spread some words of encouragement and growth and strength for everybody. So how are you doing today, mister?
Doing good. Woke
Good
up
stuff.
on the good side of the bed and ready to talk about some enlightening topics.
Good stuff. I'm excited. I was like, you know what? He's perfect voice, perfect incel, I'm sure, for this podcast. So I'm excited. We're going to hop right into it. So today's subject we're going to talk about is being a man. And in this crazy world that we live in, being a man is like ever changing. It's always something new that you have to do, or like responsibilities you have. And being a man now and being a man 20, 30 years ago is completely different. So for me and Harrison, we're like still kind of fresh in the spectrum of manhood. Like we turned 18 like less than like 10 years ago, or I guess it's like less than 5 years ago for real.
Less than 5.
And it's still fresh. So we're still trying to figure out everything, trying to figure out how to start family and best income situations and best ways to like work on ourselves and work on other people. But we're just going to talk about the best recommendations and suggestions that we have and that we've learned through these last couple years that'll help you guys. So first, before we get into it, Harrison, introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you from?
Well, hey guys, my name's Harrison. Originally up from New York. I was born in New York, but my hometown, I would say, is Charlotte, North Carolina. Grew up in Charlotte ever since I was 6. Went to school there for all of my schooling, elementary through high school. And then I came over here to Greenville, North Carolina, where I currently reside, for undergraduate studies at ECU. I graduated with a BS in biology, concentration in cellular and molecular biology. And now I'm here with Darius working at Texas Roadhouse as a server bartender.
Yes,
and
sir.
couldn't be happier, trying to figure out life and see what the next steps are.
And Mr. Smarty Pants over here. I don't even know what you said. Cellular, molecular, blah, blah, blah. All the
little
smart
cells.
people words, the cells, all the things that we are made of. Harrison
Right,
is
like
studying. So
what you
yeah,
said,
love
you were almost glad to be done. I'm so glad I'm done. I don't have to read those fat textbooks anymore.
Jesus, I could only
My gosh.
imagine. I'm doing sports stuff, and like we don't even really have any textbooks, but I can only imagine. I remember doing like biochem like freshman, sophomore year. Like really wanted to like kill myself. It was crazy. And I can only imagine doing it for 4 years, bro.
I learned after freshman year, don't carry your textbooks in the book bag, because then my backpack would weigh 40
Holy
pounds on my back walking through
Right.
campus.
Walking through campus. Yeah, dude. Don't do that. That's recommendation number 1 for this episode is
Right.
do not carry your books in your bag.
No, or get the online version. It's a lot lighter if it's on your MacBook.
Right. And it's usually cheaper too.
That too.
Right. And well, the crazy thing is too, I don't know, like since you graduated, I think it literally just started this last year. When you register for classes, it like auto generates the books that you need. And if you pay like $20 per class for the books, then they'll buy all the books for you for like discounted price. You just have to return them. It's crazy. So I wish that would have been the case back whenever I first started, because I only needed like 2 books this semester.
Yeah, that's clutch. I still have like 5 of my textbooks that I've never used or never will use ever again.
Correlation is we work at Texas Roadhouse and we're both from Charlotte, the good old Queen City, 704.
Queen City.
Yes, sir. So yeah, I'm excited. We're gonna get into this thing. Harrison was one of the first guys, like I was talking about last week, that I met at Texas Roadhouse. Him and Sam and Josh are a couple of and Wyatt are the like four of the five primary guys who worked at Texas Roadhouse when I first started. And it's a completely different genre whenever you're a guy working in a girls industry, like I was saying, and you kind of just like link with the other guys who are the minorities of the group, just because, y'all have differences than everybody else. And that has helped our relationship and our friendship grow because everybody else in there are women, and then there's just us. So we're going to talk about being a man and what it means to be a man in a society that is, first of all, mostly women, and especially in the work field that we work in, like a bunch of women work in our work field. So Harrison, what do you think it means to be a man in today's world?
Shoot, I don't know if there's a definition of being a man in today's world. I would say that's a very loose topic of what is a man today, or per standard what a man is today. But as long as you identify as a man and you qualify yourself as a man, I guess.
It's like you were saying, like it's kind of hard just because, like I said, like it's always changing and there's always something that like you have to do, or like society deems you have to do because you're a man.
Right.
But like in today's 2025 world, there's so many things that men do that you would be looked at crazy for doing back in the day. Like men work in like nursing, and men work in service industries, and men are like doing things that women used to do, and vice versa. Women are in management positions and doing things like that. So like it's an ever-changing thing, I guess. I would consider being a man someone who like is the main provider or the protector of like a household or like of a group of people in a situation, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I could see that for sure. Or more or less a father figure for,
Yeah.
anyone. Because like if you're saying like, oh, that guy's a man, like I feel that's in reference to his like wisdom, age, and like how he portrays himself outwards towards like others, in the sense
Absolutely.
of,
Yep.
okay, can I provide, can I care, can I be that support system, can I be a strong pillar in the center that'll uphold the overbearing arches of whatever it may be, the family, or a social construct around you at a workplace, whatever it might be.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Like basically just like presenting yourself as someone who can be a leader and or provider for a group or a segment of people, I guess would qualify you as a man. So I guess that's true. Now, another thing too is like the differences between the modern masculinity versus traditional masculinity have changed so much. And like, especially like the last 10 years, people have been trying out new things, doing new things, kind of like guys in service industries. Back in the day, you would have never saw a guy working as a server, bartender, or anything like that. But like today, me and Harrison both work in the service industry. I know I started my like college career trying to be a nurse, and like I think the percentile was like 2 or 3% of nurses are like men. So like the idea of the traditional man who goes to the army and work 45 hours a week and has a housewife and a family and stuff like that has changed so much too, because now a lot of men are like trying to be more self-sufficient and like take care of themselves, as well as women are trying to like take care of themselves too and not rely on a men. I think that like has helped transition men now and men back in the day, because back in the day you were like, all right, I gotta grow up, I gotta look out for my family, and then once I get old enough, I get my own family and I gotta look out for them. But now it's like you're kind of on your own, you gotta figure out everything, and then if you're lucky enough to start a family or have a family or a group of people, then you like assume that role of being a man. So like what main difference do you notice in between like the traditional man and like today's man? What do people today do, men wise, that would be looked at crazy 20 years ago?
I mean, it's such a polarizing difference, I would say, between traditional, men and men nowadays. I would say, the traditional old school man was the one that would jump through hoops to go fight in the army, like you were saying, like go into the army, the blue collar work, like work with their hands, be that like rugged, dirty, classic picture man. Today, I feel like society's more trying to stray away from generalizing and say like, okay, all men have to use their physical attributes for their job and work with their hands and get all that like ruggedness and, man energy out towards their job, I guess. Men nowadays are allowed to like more embrace any aspect of their personality, or say, okay, well, I don't want to work with my hands the rest of my life. I'm not that rugged man. I feel like I'm not. Like, I definitely don't want to be into the blue collar work and work with my hands. I'm not cut out for that. But,
Right. Yeah.
there are
No, literally.
tons of men that still are. But I feel nowadays it's more accepting that I'm not that manly man, that I don't want to go fight, go work and build stuff. But, but that there's still men and still people that love and aspire to do that, which is fantastic because we need all aspects of work because we still need builders and everything. So
I completely agree because you'll catch me dead before I'm out blue collar ended up because that's just not, I've just never fit in that box of like wanting to do that. Like I always joke around and tell Key, like, she's like, we need this. And I'm like, okay, well, we can get someone to do that. Like working, I wish I knew more about cars and building things, stuff like that. But like, it's good to have
right.
the ability to go out and fight if you need to, or build something if you need to, or work on a car, or like all the traditional man things. But I also think like nowadays, like, and it's better to be more balanced. So like you can do all those things, but also be like a loving person, a caring person, being like intellectually smart and being able to work on computers or work in like a service industry or do any non-traditional man things that aren't considered blue collar. So it helped being able to do all the things. And I feel like that's like as a society has now started to realize like men and women, they don't have to fit all the check boxes, and that betters us as a society, because if you have a man who can do the blue collar stuff but also is smart but also is caring, like you're going to be way more better off than if you have a man who's just blue collar, like this is the traditional way, this is how I'm going to do it, and it helps like the whole society work together. Because now that men are also venturing into things that are not traditional, women are also doing that too. So like it like kind of is like a yin yang. So now women are working, going to the army, fighting for people, being able to build stuff, doing all the things that you would never see women do like 50 years ago. So I definitely think the role in culture too, and like society has changed too, because now some men or a lot of men aren't expected to be the breadwinners of families and stuff too, especially like back in the day, 50 years ago. If you were a man, you had to go out and work. And if you
support your
didn't,
family.
and support your family.
Create a nice supported household. Make sure, your wife and kids that you're going to then be able to have to provide for, you're the one doing so.
Exactly. And nowadays, like, there's two heads of households. Like, they have women and men contributing to the household equally. And I feel like that's something that has been very, like, helpful for everyone, because now not just the man has to go up and get up and go to work and only work. They can relax and hang out and do things around the house and stuff like that. And I feel like changing the norm of that has helped. But I also feel like there's still people who think that only the traditional way is the right way. And there's not really a right or wrong way when it comes to being a man or doing the right things. But like you said, like being able to do all the things has helped me, and I'm sure has helped you, because
it diversifies me as an individual as well. Taking on different roles and even aspects of life, like us surrounding ourselves with all the women that we have at work. I access my girly pop side, is what they like to say, right? One of the coworkers, she's like, "Here's you little girly pop," and I was like, you know what? Right. But yeah, I'm comfy with that.
Right.
You gotta adapt and overcome, and I feel like the traditional man would be so scared of coming out of that shell of like, no, I'm a man, I have to act like that man, traditional man, hard all the time, like rugged demeanor. But no,
absolutely. I feel like being comfortable in your masculinity allows you to expand like all the things and all your opportunities and like your connections with people, like you said,
right?
Like at work, especially working with only women, you're expected to help them with all the strong man stuff, but then you're also like called a girly pop. So like it's kind of like given.
The yin and yang, man. It's the yin and yang. You got to play both sides in order to fit in the puzzle piece that you need.
Right. Absolutely. If we were to put ourselves back 50 years ago, like what type of expectations back then would have caught you off guard, or you've been like not uncomfortable with, but like confused about having to do back then versus having to do now? Having to be a blue collar instead of having the choice to be a blue collar would be like it was so like laid out. I would have wanted it to be like more open and be more, you can do anything that you want to do. You can go be a nurse, you can go be a doctor, you can go work in the construction, you can be a manager, you can work in like a restaurant. I feel like explaining that to someone like a grandparent of ours would have been like, whoa, like what the fuck do you mean they can do all those things?
Yeah, and at that point too, I feel like it was a lot of, they'd had like family ties, especially to jobs. I mean, there is still nowadays where parents, of course, push their children to do what they did and like live through the, family legacy of whatever job that may be. But I feel like now, especially for younger people growing up, it's more, like you said, open to where you can go any direction, whichever way you want to, which I appreciate that more because like through high school, I was working with my father in, landscaping and doing all that stuff outside, like that blue collar work. And that's really what showed me I didn't want to do it because, that working with my hands all the time, I was like, man, I am exhausted after this day. Like I'd much
Yes.
rather use my brain here. Like I got to try and use the little bit of smarts that I got here and there to apply that to my job rather than being out here outside.
No, absolutely. I could never work outside 40 hours a week. Like, I mean, I also too, I'm not dogging anyone who does. I commend everyone who can and does work outside and blue collar, all the things. It's just not for me. And in today's society, that's perfectly fine because, like you said, I can use my brain or my talking ability or my connection with other people to get a different job or like help society in a different way versus having to go out and work and build and do all the things now too. So I feel like that's definitely helped. I know it wasn't super long ago, but like I feel like in high school too, you kind of struggle with like your ability to express how you feel and your mental health in yourself, and you feel scared to say it to people, and allowing yourself to say things to people and being expressive about your feelings is like another crucial thing that it's more accepted now at least, but
Right.
it still is kind of like a weird like line that you try not to cross as a man because you're like, oh, I can't feel this way as a man. I can't be sad. I can't
Right.
cry, whatever.
Right, well, because then you don't want to seem as less of a man because of, and based on someone else's maybe even more, traditional mindset, like we were saying, pushing down on like people's masculinity for a certain action or way about life or a opinion or anything. Like that shouldn't make you more or less of a man. It's just more or less, how are you treating people? How are you outwardly expressing yourself? Are you doing it in a respectful, strong, dominant, confident manner?
Right. You can still be strong, also have feelings and like being able to express them. Like that's something that I've kind of learned from like moving here is that it's perfectly fine to like be who you are no matter what and feel how you feel, but also like tell people about how you feel. Like you don't have to keep it a secret about this, but like I feel like making that more of a norm will help better us as men, but also better everyone like women and everyone else who's in our society grow. Because if people are more accepting of men having feelings and all the things, then men will be more comfortable expressing those feelings. And I mean, I think I've heard this on like TikTok or like something like that, but like people who struggle with mental health the most and go the most undiagnosed with mental health things are like men because they're too scared to like explain it, tell
Right, and come
anybody
out
about
with
it.
those emotions about it, right? And, sit and actually have to talk about it and reflect on themselves and their, downfalls as or shortcomings as that, quote unquote man that, society has like posted every man to be. But I feel nowadays most women aren't going to be opposed to a man that cries. I feel like that's more, showing that you can have that emotional side along with being your dominant self as that quote traditional man should be, but showing that emotional side and having the ability to express those emotions and reflect on them, I feel most people appreciate that.
Absolutely. No, yeah, I think like you said, like as society has changed and we've gotten to this modern day, like a lot of people are a lot more accepting of like men being more emotionally vulnerable, and being able to be vulnerable like allows you and everyone else around you to know how you're feeling. And I feel like you said, like a lot of women want their man to be vulnerable to them because they care about their partner, and having that ability to like exchange thoughts and feelings is like super crucial in today's world. I know when men go through this phase of life and they kind of are lost or like aren't fitting the norm of being a man, or they like fail at being a man, or like they have these feelings, they kind of feel like, am I really a man? Because I don't fit the norm, am I like the man that I'm supposed to be for my wife, for my girlfriend, for my family? Like, and I feel like just fighting those demons inside and knowing that everyone feels those same ways. Like some days I feel more manly than others. Like if I go to the gym and like I'm feeling all pumped up and ready to go, and like I'm building something or doing something manly, like obviously you're going to feel more manly. But then whenever you have an interaction with a person and it's either awkward or embarrassing, or you say something crazy and like you embarrass yourself, and then you're like, damn, I shouldn't have said that, and you start thinking about it, then it's, well, was I supposed to do that? Or like you don't do something for your lady, and then she's like, why wouldn't you do that? Degrades you in a way But then you have to realize, like, not everyone's perfect. So, like, not all men are going to be men 24/7. Like, being a man in the particular moments that you're supposed to be a man is more crucial than being a man all the time.
That's one of my biggest beliefs for myself, at least. Like, you want to have the potential to be that dangerous, strong, like, crazy man inside, but contain it within reasonable bounds throughout your everyday life. And being able to be a protector, physically or in a social situation, like if you're on the street or in a club or whatever, and you need to, step up and take that man role. One of like a toxic masculinity is kind of like what I was referring to before with, like, you want that inner masculinity, but you don't want it to be toxic to an extent where, you're only showing yourself as closed off and that emotionless, strong, rugged man. And that can overflect into like, everyday life too, thinking my way or the highway, or I'm doing it right because I'm the man in the situation, or, I have to take control of the situation again because I am a man in the situation. That's not always the case and doesn't always need to be.
I would say, like, on the flip side of trying to, like, always be like the manly man of it or whatever and being comfortable with the situation is, like you said, like being able to take a step back sometimes and realize that you don't always have to be right. You don't always have to be the leader. You don't always have to be all macho, whatever. And that allows you to grow and be a better man for everyone else around you.
Sure. And a better role model, I would say, for all different people as well. Not just, oh, I'm being a man to show the younger men how to be that man. It's, okay, how can I be the best person as I am, given the life I was given, and push on to others the best that I can possibly be and act the best I possibly can towards anyone and be the nicest I can towards anyone and brighten their day or make their life better in any degree of their imagination or mind.
I know in today's world too, like we were talking about, like not everybody has conformed or changed into the modern man or like realize that it's okay to be like a modern man who's all right, not being masculine all the time and like outputting. Like, what's something that you notice that a lot of people who are toxic or like have toxic masculinity like do? Like, what's a sign of toxic masculinity that you would say?
I mean, yeah, domination or control. Like, I would say over other men, like it's like a alpha v alpha fight, like the deer in the woods. Like, us button heads, is that really going to solve anything? No. Like, breaking down that masculinity and actually getting towards like core values as a person and what we value in life more, I feel like is more important. Yeah, just the domination over like any situation or wanting to be in that full alpha position.
Whenever you're always walls up, like ready to fight, going, like you don't allow yourself to grow into the person and the man that you're supposed to be, and allowing yourself to just be open and vulnerable really does change the different ways that like masculinity is viewed. Because like whenever you like walk across somebody who is toxic masculine person, like it almost like radiates off of them. And it doesn't, like, you can tell that person doesn't care about, like, what other people have to say or do. Having the ability to expand and be, like, your own person allows you to grow, but then also allows you to help others grow, too. Because no one's going to want to be led or seen or viewed with another toxic man.
Like, for the traditional men, like, I feel they wouldn't let women, like, taking over a situation and being comfortable with it or having a valid say in a matter, if they were, like, two men discussing something and, the woman butted in and be like, hey, like, men are talking, but it's right. Like, now, like, no, like, you got a valued piece, like, we'll value it. Say what you got, just add in.
No, absolutely. I feel like that's, especially in, like, the work fields and, like, places that women traditionally weren't really a part of, like men allowing women to have inputs and thoughts and important decision-making capabilities in those positions allowed us as a society to grow. And the toxic masculinity of, oh, you're a woman, you don't have to say, or even like belittling another man because they're not as manly as you, allows everyone in the situation and the group and the decision-making to grow and better the whole situation that you're in. And I feel like that's an important, when it comes to being a man, is understanding the difference between leading and controlling. Because like you said, like being able to lead somebody and being able to like put your foot down when needed, and also like show the right way to the next generation of men or your sons or your friends or the woman in your life, like is super important. But then on the flip side of that, like when it gets over leading and you're like controlling what they're doing and being toxic and like not listening to everyone, that's whenever you roll over into the controlling side of it. Whenever you don't allow someone to do this, you don't let your girlfriend go out and do this, you don't let your friends hang out with these people, you don't let the women at work talk or have any input on something important. The really important point of that is like being able to better understand yourself. And once you understand yourself, you understand that you can lead and you know how that you best lead, versus you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't care what you have to say about me. I'm just going to be manly, manly, manly and stuff like that. So being able to just listen, I feel like is a crucial step in becoming a leader,
Oh,
especially as a
yeah.
man.
No, well, I mean, listening, you need to listen in order to gain context from those that you're wanting to lead. You know, you can't, again, be headstrong and stuck in your way and dominant over the situation and not listen to others around you, because what others are saying around you is giving a reflection for yourself to see. You know, what others are saying to me or about me or anything, or, just anyone in general. That's going to be key information that you can use in order to better yourself or change things that you're doing wrongly or fix mistakes or go back and fix a burnt bridge that you accidentally burned down without even realizing, but without listening and actually absorbing what you're hearing, then no progress can be made.
Right. It kind of just goes out the window. Like I would say like that kind of leads into my next thing, is like just the importance of discipline and accountability as a man. That's like a super important like role that a man should take, and really anybody, but especially men when leading others. You should be able to, like you said, know when you're wrong and be able to take a step back and be like, okay, you're right, I was wrong, I'm sorry, and how are we going to get this fixed, versus no, I'm not wrong, yada yada yada. And that's something that I know I struggle with, and I know a lot of people still struggle with, is like understanding that it's okay not to be right all the time, but don't let that bleed into being toxic about it. Be willing to listen, be willing to learn and grow, and listen to another person in the situation, whether it be your partner, another business partner, your friends. Like a lot of people who care about you will tell you important things that will help you grow. If you block it and don't hold yourself accountable and realize that you can change and we're always ever changing, then you don't allow yourself to grow and be that man that you want to be.
Yep. You got to absorb everything. My best motto I would say is be like a sponge. Take on everything from everybody. Take apart different pieces of each man in your life that you come across and say, well, what are the aspects here that I've, appreciated from him, or what do I aspire to be about that person? And that's what you can take on, rather than, again, just being steadfast in that one mindset, because we don't have that one mindset of how we should be, how we should act, how we want to. And we don't want to be wrong. We always want to be right. And that's why we're going to do what we're going to do. Like, we
Right.
make the decisions for a reason. Like, we think it's right, but it's like you said, it's okay. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to fall back and analyze the situation. But that is what I really think makes a true man, or a true leader, is being able to then take that step back, look on everything outwardly and adjust and move on swiftly, and not make that transition from, what we were doing to now what the change is, and make that smooth and not painful.
Absolutely. Like, can take a step back and just listen to each other and like listen to other men who are been in that same situation, or women who might have better recommendations than we have, and just like realize that it's all right to reevaluate a situation and think it through all the way, instead of like attacking it head on all the time, like using your intellect versus using your muscle all the time. I feel like in movies and in like reality, really, like it was always portrayed that men had to use
Bronze and brains.
bronze and brains, like over brains. So like having to use only muscle and only your strength and not your brain, it doesn't allow you to grow. Having the ability to do both will allow you to be the best man for yourself as well as best man for everyone else. And I feel like another important thing too, as well as taking accountability, is building a support team or a support group of people around you that keeps you accountable, but then also allows you to grow with those people. So like, who's an example in your life that you can use that has helped keep you accountable and also keeps like yourself growing every single day?
Well, so I have like my core group of my boys, they're my boys. They're from high school. We've been friends ever since, and they're two Erics and Cohen. So I call them Chin and Queen. Those are the two Erics, and then Cohen. Those are my best friends, like ride or die, like my life brothers.
Right.
And ever since high school, I mean, we've been friends. So from then until now, I've been able to see them grow into the men that they're becoming and see them take on the roles that they're going to for their life and pursue their careers that they're wanting to, watching them go through their relationships with women and their relationships with other men and having friends that come and go, or relationships that come and go, and seeing how they adjust to life in general. And
Right.
they're always there to pick me up as well whenever I fall, and vice versa. I'm always there for them to pick them up when they fall if they need it, and also smack them down a little bit. When their
No,
ego gets
right.
a little too high, I'm like, I know we got to pick on you a little bit today.
Right. No, we got to. No, for real. I feel like you said everyone is there to pick each other up, but also tear each other down if needed. Like you're there to like humble sometimes, because a lot of the time men have to be humbled. Like I know I've had to be humbled before by my friends, by people I care about, to then be able to take that step back and be like, damn, I really should reevaluate what's going on in my life and how I'm affecting other people. And I kind of like you have friends from high school who we've been friends for like, I guess going on 4, 5, 6 years now. And that we talk, text, message all the time. And sometimes, like you said, it's not, we're at each other's throat. You would still die for that person. Like allowing yourself to have that group of people that keeps you grounded and allows you to continue to grow is super important. And even now, like since me and Keith started dating, like having that person who I live with every single day and that sees me every single day and gives me pointers and tells me like what I should do, what I shouldn't do, like best ways to grow and be like the man of the house, has allowed me to develop a better understanding of what I should do for myself, but also how I should approach a situation or approach being a man in today's society. Like she's helped me be comfortable in my own skin and allowed me to bring me down when I need to, but also lift me up when I need to. So like just having those people is super important when it comes to doing anything really in life. And I always say like having your tribe is your most important thing that you can do in life. Like having your people you can always lean on.
I was gonna mention the different ways that men talk to each other versus women, and like the not like harshness of it, but the like we're not afraid to bruise your ego kind of thing. Like we'll
Right.
make fun of you. Like they'll be your best friends will be the meanest to you. If you're a guy, they gonna tell you straight up, like, hey, if you're looking goofy today, dude. Like, what
You
are we
are
doing?
right.
You know?
Like what's going on? Especially if like you're single and like you have friends who are single, like you're always like, bro, you gotta lock in. Like, what are you doing?
You gotta
Like I
lock
know
in, dude.
like because all my best friends except me are like single as fuck right now. I'm like, bro, like what are you talking about? You're talking to this person. You're not talking to them. Let's be for real. Or like, bro, like that girl, don't do it. She's crazy. Like just to be there to like humble that person. Like that's another thing too that I enjoy about being around other men is that they don't care about what you say and they don't take it to heart as much. And then vice versa, like they'll say shit to you. You're like, oh damn, that is kind of true. But like, it like helps you reevaluate what's going on. And like, just
Oh,
like you said, the difference between men and women talking to each other, because women kind of do the same thing, but are a little different in the way they do it. They're a little bit more caring and like gingerly about it versus men. They're just straight up to your fucking face.
oh yeah, no,
And
I
actually,
feel like with women, it's all about the hidden message within what's actually being said. Like what's being said is not actually what's being said.
no, right. Yeah, that's a straight to the point is definitely a man thing too. So I think that helps us whenever guys become friends, allow us to actually see what's going on and like be told what actually is going on versus like teeter-tottering around it. So, but just understanding that it's okay not to do the same things and like have a different purpose and being comfortable with what purpose you're supposed to be filling is super crucial, I'd say.
We all navigate the world independently, so how can we, you know, give a given structure for one's purpose? Like we all walk life differently, and how you walk through life is going to determine what your purpose is going to be later on. So trying to regulate or, sculpt one's purpose is just going to be counterintuitive. It's going to destroy the person more than actually help them.
The way the people you date are completely different than everyone else, and not trying to control other people's opinions about who you're dating and why you're dating and the purpose of your dating is like super crucial too. Because back in the day when you were dating somebody, you're like, oh, you're going to marry that person. But like now I see people with new people every single month and I'm like, damn, dude, like, are you ever going to like actually commit to that person? So like, what is something like different that we do in this generation now as men in the dating realm that's different than back in the day? You say like 20 years ago.
I mean, yeah, like you said, I mean, there isn't as strong as a mindset towards, okay, dating to marry. But I mean, I feel like that comes with its positive and negative side. And just as any dilemma, the positives being, okay, well, now if I date with someone, I have to marry them. I have to be focused on that. That has to be my end goal with this person. You get to experience different girls or guys in your life and see what is something that I really truly value in a partner and what do I want to look for that husband or wife or whoever you're going to, want to work towards becoming married to. And, the amount of dating I think is different for everybody to find out and let them figure out what they truly want and need from that relationship.
Actually.
But yeah, there is also the other side where it's the frivolous dating and, pulling on people's emotions and, one person's in it for one reason and the other person's in it for another. And, that's where it really gets messy. And I wish for men it was, better in that sense. And there was less of that player tactic, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Not everybody's a player, but they pretend to be. So
Right.
I like what you said about like, different people date for a different amount of times, and it should be tailored just to you. You have to date people to figure out what you like and what you don't like. And sometimes you hit it right on the nail first time and it's perfect and it works out and you're married for 70 years and you're going to Disney and you get your little badges and say married for 80 years and stuff like that. But then there's other people who go and have to date 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people to figure out what they want, because in a world that's ever changing, every person's different, whether it be men, women, everyone. You and I don't date the same because we don't experience the same things and don't prioritize the same things in a relationship. But like we have the same like overview, but like different bullet points that we want to hit in our relationship. So it might take me, it might take you longer to get to the same point of marriage. Because I think eventually 90% of the time, everyone wants to get to that point with a person in their lives and marry that person. But like you said, like, the people who date once, get married and figure it out. Like on the flip side of that, like if you date once, you're like, oh, this is perfect. And then 5 years later, you're like, God, why did I marry this person? This person's a piece of shit. Because you never knew there was something else, or you never fully realized what's going on with that person. Like you said, being okay knowing that your dating life and the way you approach love and the way you care about other people is not going to be the same as other people, and having the ability to just, like we were talking about earlier, learn from it, like be able to grow and understand what you like and what you don't like, and hopefully finding a partner who is willing to do the same thing with you. And what's completely different from high school until now between being a man that you would say that caught you completely off guard?
The culture switch with, what I was saying earlier with being the player. I feel like coming here was like, man, how many girls you got? How many numbers do you have? And it's like,
Right.
shoot, we're going for
like
how many? It's not like,
right.
yo, is there this one person that's like great and you care about her? No. It's like, yo, how many can you get? And it
Right.
was like more about a numbers game rather than a quality
Right.
person that I
Right.
wanted to spend time with. That always, for me, I was always very turned off by it. I'm a relationship man. Like, I
Me
like
too.
that comfort. I like where I'm at now. So I was never for that, but it was very shocking to me. It was a very big culture switch because in my high school, at least, or when I was younger, it was always, who's that one person? But then it just exploded into how many can we collect? Pokemon, collect them all. Like, bro, crazy.
No, it was
Let's chill.
crazy.
Let's chill out a little bit. Like, we're all people here. Like, we care about people's feelings a little bit more.
I wouldn't say negatives, but like one of the things that has changed society wise in like dating and like men and women's relationships is that back then you would only date and get married, and like right off the bat, like you'd find your person, date them, you'd marry them, you would die together. But now, like you said, people almost wait into getting our age and they're like, you know what, the world is my oyster. I have like endless possibilities, and then they just go and like basically, like you said, like Thanos that bitch and collect Infinity Stones and just like get everybody they can. And like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like that's something that's different now for sure. Like versus being in high school. Like in high school you like know the same people, you see the same people every day. So like if you did date everybody, like it would be kind of weird. But like now in
It'd be
college, like
messy because then all
it
your
would,
inner circles would clash, and then
yeah, it
too
would be
much
bad.
drama would be pouring down. But I mean, yeah, it is easier when, the world is your oyster and you have so much more space between those people, and you can, meet people that aren't connected in any way and then move on past them and not care, because then, you can never hear from them again.
Right.
Said and done.
Right.
But
It is what it is. But yeah, like you said, another thing too, I feel like that is hard for men is besides dating is like figuring out what like kind of career that you want and like navigating the world in things that are so men face. So like you said, finding a career and like being financially independent are things that you had to do back in the day. And nowadays, like figuring out what you like to do is more important than figuring out what you have to do. And like, so like, for example, like going to college and like getting a degree and working in sports or working in bio or working as a nurse or anything like that was always sought like after for like the special people who are super smart, but not the traditional man. And nowadays it's almost like you have to go to school and do these things to be a man and take care of like your families and stuff. And like having that financial burden of like, oh, I have to take care of somebody, I have to take care of myself, like how am I supposed to do that, is like another hard thing that men have to go through.
oh yeah, no, and I mean that's what I'm dealing with right now. Like, I went to undergraduate studies with the mindset of going to med school. Like, I was fully pre-med, like I was in biology. Ever since high school, I was like, I'm going to be a doctor, going to be a doctor, going to be a doctor. And now that I'm out of college, a couple years before or like about a year and a half before I graduated, I realized that that's not what I wanted to do anymore. That's not where my heart lied. And so now I'm taking a step back and reanalyzing life, and what am I actually going to be passionate about? What do I really want to love to do for the rest of my life? Like, I want to love my job. I want to be able to, yes, provide for my family and take care of a wife and kids, my parents, and when they're older, and, my kids, I want to be a grandparent, financially. But what am I going to enjoy doing along that road? And that's what I'm really trying to figure out. And I feel like that's the most important, because I don't want to be stuck in something where I'm hating my life. I only get one of them, so I might as well like it.
No, that's facts. No, you might know for real, because like trying to figure out what you want to do, but then balancing that with like, is it going to pay the bills is so hard that a lot of, especially men have to go through, because like women joke about it all the time, whatever, but they're like, I'm going to find a man who's like a doctor or a lawyer or something so I can like be fine and like not have to work or whatever. But like the pressures of society being like, oh, you're the man, you should make more money, you should be the provider or whatever, like almost makes it hard for men who don't want to do the traditional jobs that pay a lot of money, makes it harder for them to like want to do something that may be out of the box. Like you said, like I know perfect example is like me wanting to do sports. I don't know where it's going to lead, where it's going to go, how much I'm going to make. I'm not really sure anything about it, and I'm still trying to figure it out every single day. Struggling with the uncertainty of once I do graduate in May or June, July, or whatever, and then I start like teeter-tottering into the workforce, like how is that going to look? Am I going to make enough money to provide for Key and my two dogs and like live in the places that we want to do and travel the places that we want to go? Like teeter-tottering and sometimes taking a step back and being like, you know what, whatever I do, I just want to know that I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing, even if it's not as money driven as the stuff that men used to do back in the day.
Of course, I'm not as money focused, but more quality of life focused. What are you going to enjoy? What is going to give you the most self-fulfillment? What is going to let you be the happiest individual towards the ones that you love and the people around you?
Right.
I think that's going to make you the most well-rounded man at the end of the day, being that true man in which we're trying to figure out.
No, absolutely. Before we head off of here, what is a suggestion that you would give to someone who's just now maybe turning 18 and like realizing that being a man's not as easy as it looks like in TV shows and the movies and stuff, but or if you could go back and tell yourself at 18, like what would you say like about being a man? Like, what's the best recommendation you have?
It's not all that serious. You're still pretty young. You got a lot of time, but also realize that you get one shot at this life. So make it your best. Live out what you want to do. Live your life to your fullest, but ultimately listen to yourself. It's your life. It's what you want to do. It's where your passions lie. Go explore those. Don't take no for an answer. Just go get it. Like, go be hungry. Go get what you want.
It is. I'm going to say, and you have to, like you said, you have to take every opportunity to better yourself, whether it be something that's non-traditional or if it's traditional, like being able to balance the vulnerability and the strength of it all. And like being able to understand that it's okay to not be okay sometimes, but also have your people that you can lean on whenever it's not okay. Because it's not all sunshine and fucking rainbows. It's fucking heartaches and like, God, my life sucks. And like, why do I have to pay for this? And why do I got to do this? And I got to provide for these people. And it's just hard, like you said, but one step in front of the other, like just moving forward to a goal and being comfortable in the goal that you set out for and it be your goal and something that you want to do and not letting society or girl or anything decide what you want to do and making it okay.
If you have a bad day, don't take it so seriously. The sun is going to rise tomorrow. Whatever you messed up on, it's not that serious. It's not that deep. That person is probably going to forget about it. It'll be nothing in a couple days. Again, the sun's going to rise tomorrow. Just get yourself to the next day. Get up and enjoy life.
No, yeah, just enjoy life because
enjoy life. Just try the best you can. And if you're not enjoying life, there are people to help to change your perspective on that. And I know there are a lot of people struggling in all walks of life with enjoyment of life and thinking that they have any purpose in life, but everyone does, and everyone can live a fantastic life of happiness and fulfillment. So
absolutely,
don't count yourself out ever.
Never. Yeah. Find your people, find the person you need to talk to, and find what you want to do in life and your purpose in life. And if you struggle with doing that, like you said, there's people who you can talk to and help you figure out what you want to do. But just make sure you put quality of life over importance of life. Like your quality of life that you live is more important than how you live it and how other people's opinions affect you. Those are great words. I appreciate you, Harrison, for being on this podcast. It's been real.
Thanks for having me. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. If you enjoyed this conversation with us and want to hear more conversations like this, go ahead and subscribe to YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. We're all over the place. We're growing and hopefully reaching more people. And like I always say, as long as this message can better one person every single week, then I hit my goal. Like it doesn't matter how many people view this, how many people watch this. As long as one person can hear this and be like, you know what, I'm going to try to be a better person and care about what I want to do, then I've hit my goal for the week. If you have any recommendations or suggestions or anything like that for being a man, or someone who might need to hear this episode, go ahead and send it to them and we can chat about it. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate y'all watching all the way through. Just know everything's going to be all right. Thank you for digging in with us today, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next week.